Can I please have a motion and a second to reconvene the public meeting?
Motion, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Will everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence to honor our servicemen and women? Thank you. Will the district clerk please call the roll?
Mrs. Iannatelli. Mrs. DiLorenzo.
Present.
Mrs. Napolitano-Ferno. Dr. Senamore. Mrs. Mallon.
Present.
Mr. Murphy.
Present.
Mr. Kohli-Kefar.
Present.
Mrs. Poppy.
Present.
And Mr. Hauser.
Thank you. And we have one item on the agenda, and it is the mascot survey. Dr. Senamore, would you like to present the results?
Thank you, Ms. Mallon, and thank you, everyone. Good evening. So the purpose of tonight's special board meeting is to discuss the district's mascot, look at the recent survey results that have gone out, have a conversation about that, try to address any potential financial questions that the board may have to further the conversation. So as a quick recap, last year, the regulation came out that school districts which had a name, logo, mascot with Indigenous, Native American connectivity was required to change their mascot. Our district last year passed a resolution to look at that based on direct guidance from the state specific to Connecticut. To my knowledge, no district has received any direct guidance. It was just a regulation that went out to all, and which has been part of the conversation that we've been having from one meeting to another. We have had a great deal of involvement from local elected officials, such as Senator Wyke, who is, was able to organize a meeting with numerous districts across Long Island who are impacted, and she was able to get, and we appreciate very much so, Native American representation. We thank her for doing that, and for Native American groups for being present. Unfortunately, despite the invitation, there was no representation, from the state with regards to trying to look at the situation and see if there was a win-win solution where a district such as Connecticut can maintain its name. Our mascot is the Thunderbird, and see if there's educational opportunities and opportunities for outreach and partnership with our Native Americans, especially local to Connecticut. In terms of the history, the Thunderbird goes back to the 1960s, and the intent was to look to honor the Native American heritage of this area, and that's where the Thunderbird mascot for Connecticut originated. So we put out a survey to the community, and it really basically asked two specific questions. One was with regards to would you like to see Connecticut keep the Thunderbird mascot, change it, and a third choice is if you did not feel strongly either way. The second core question had to do with the potential for any legal action, a legal remedy, which would involve a suit with New York State Education Department. And obviously, when you're talking about a legal situation, a suit, there's going to be a cost component to that. And the question went out with regards to, to the community, would you be in support? Yes, no, and again, that third option, if you did not feel strongly either way. In terms of the survey tool, we chose to go with an anonymous survey. We wanted people to feel comfortable in giving their honest opinion. When you go with that option, there are certain limitations in terms of limiting responses by individuals. But again, that was the rationale with going with the anonymous choice. In terms of total responses to the survey, and I think we can put them on the screen as well, we ended up with 4,707 responses. And then when it came to specific questions, such as the first question with regards to the Connect Watts Thunderbird mascot, please select one response from the choices below. In terms, we have 4,530 responses. 84.5% said I would like Connect to continue to use the Thunderbird mascot. 6.5% said I would like Connect to change its mascot, and 9% said they did not feel strongly either way. And then in terms of the next question, in looking at a potential legal remedy, if the district is not able to continue to use the Thunderbird mascot, would you be in support of the district seeking a legal remedy with the state education department, particularly with regards to a lawsuit? And I know there's been some community questions with regards to, well, you know, couldn't there be a precise cost estimate? And the legal guidance that the district received was really a very broad range. And so, you know, we felt very strongly that if we said it could potentially cost tens of thousands of dollars based on the duration of the suit, that really was being transparent with the reality of the situation. So in terms of the responses to that question, 4,519 responses. 53.6% said yes, I would be in support of seeking a legal remedy. 27.7% said no, I would not be in support of seeking a legal remedy. And 18.7% said I do not feel strongly either way. So there's the mascot survey results.
Thank you. Just to ask, do we have a monetary number of how much it could cost? Should we have to change the mascot, how much it would cost the district?
That's a great question. And right now we are working with very rough, raw estimates. This is something that would take really several months and be a key component with our 2024-2025 budget development process. But rough estimates, and again, when you're talking about changing the mascot, you're talking district-wide, whether it's signs, whether it's clothing, you name it, every facet, every component, and those costs really are several hundred thousands of dollars, you know, easily approaching $500,000, possibly higher. Again, those are early, rough estimates, and we'd have to, you know, vet that over months of the budget development process, but you are looking at expenses in that range.
What about, people had asked about grants. Now, I remember hearing that there was not any grants right now, that we do have the senator as well as some other government officials seeking and advocating for some sort of money in the event that this has to happen. But as of right now, I was told there is not any grant money or any help for districts. Mr. Hauser, is that correct?
That's correct, as we know at the moment.
And I will just add that we do have our elected officials, especially those who have been trying to advocate for a win-win scenario, who at the very least would like to see some significant reimbursement for districts, you know, to cover these potential expenses.
Thank you. Now, there's also the possibility of going into this lawsuit with a cap of our own, that at one certain point, we could reevaluate and see where the suit is going, and then pull from that suit.
That was, just to give transparency to the district, that was something that I had thought about the other night when I emailed, and I was thankful that I had board support on that in regards to maybe we can't make everyone happy. Maybe we can't just go into something. People were writing on different social media sites, not that I saw everything because I didn't, but people were saying things along the lines of, they were using the verbiage blank check or open account, open checkbook, something like that. And I got thinking and I said, you know, in the past, we have put a cap on things. We've said up to 20,000, up to 25,000, which is money that we're able to find. And at least what it does is it gives us the potential to go into it with everybody else before it's actually unable to do that, before the lawsuits like we've had in the past where something starts and you can't get into it. Now we would be able to get into it for those, as we saw on the survey, who really want it, and still have the opportunity to do what I had spoken to some attorneys that are not our district attorney, and they said we could do that voluntary discontinuance that is put into a court, and it's many people who deal with the law know that that's something that can be done. So if that's something that can be done, this seems like something where you're not making everybody happy, but you're at least saying we're going into it with being fiscally responsible, yet we're still digging our heels in, putting a line in the sand and saying we're not ready to give up the T-Bird, especially since if it's going to cost $500,000 to switch, why not fight 25,000, and then at that point up to 25,000, and then after that we come back to the table, we reevaluate what's gone on with other lawsuits with the other districts, seeing if anyone has won theirs, or because some of them are ahead of us, and see what else we can do. And if at that point we want to allocate another 25,000 or 50,000 or 100,000, that's something that we as a board who were elected will have to look at and also see what Mr. Hauser, sorry, not Dr. Sensible, what Mr. Hauser can do for us in the way of helping us to fight for something that is a lot less, that is actually a fifth of the price of switching.
Yes, and speaking of Mr. Hauser, if you could just explain for transparency where we would find said $25,000 at the moment, what line item or how we would pay for the lawyers.
Sure. So even though we're early in the school year, having only completed a little more than a quarter of the year, I believe that if we take a look and a good hard look at some of those individual legal lines in the budget, we may be able to pull some of the funds from there, and then we can also look elsewhere.
It's actually a fraction of the cost. It's 5% that we're willing to start off at 25,000 versus the potential of, Dr. C said, over $500,000. So it's a small investment to save potential dollars down the road.
Also the tradition, what we really, we're fighting for tradition. We're fighting for our kids to have the tradition that we, Brian, you, I, and April, you graduated from here? Jackie too.
It's everybody but
So it's everybody but Marisol. So it's not just for us, it's for all the people like us that come back to our district to live here because they want their children to be T-Birds. They want their children to be the T-Bird Nation. I don't really know what we would be called, and it would just be so strange. So seeing that the district and all these people want the same thing is nice to see that we can advocate and see what we can do to keep that. And I like your idea.
Yeah, what I wanted to ask about, and I'm not really sure how to go about doing this, which we did this for armed guards, is to have a committee. At this point, if we move forward with the resolution so that we can really, because the survey, it was tough to get truly accurate results, to get more of a gauge on the community, to have a committee similar to the Armed Guards Committee, where the community is invited in to discuss the pros, the cons, everything. I'm not sure how to go about doing that, but I would maybe like to see something like that happen so we can really get some solid input.
So with regards to the committee, the resolution that the board passed prior to the end of the last school year does speak about a district-wide committee to look at the mascot. Now, in terms of where the state was coming from with wanting this, the state's intent is for the committee to come up with a new name, a new mascot. However, this same committee can certainly, besides the potential, if ultimately at the end of this, we still have to change our name, our mascot, this same committee could also, play this role that that you're suggesting in terms of seeing where this process is. And it could also then make, recommendations, that can come up, through me to the Board of Education.
Great, thank you. Does anybody have anything else they want to add? All right, let's vote. Can I please have a motion to appoint Sokoloff Stern LLP as special counsel to commence litigation in federal and/or state court on behalf of the Board of Education, challenging the enactment and enforcement of Part 123 of the Regulations of the Commissioner of Education, which prohibits the use of indigenous names, mascots, and logos by public schools. Expenditures for such litigation shall not exceed $25,000 without further approval from the Board of Education, and the board reserves the right to withdraw from said litigation at any time at the discretion of the board. I just need a motion and a second.
Motion.
Second.
Well, we'll do a roll call vote. How's that?
Yeah, that's good.
April?
Yes.
Jackie, Di Lorenzo?
Yes.
Jackie Napolitano Ferno?
Yes.
I am also a yes. Brian Murphy?
I'm a yes.
All right, motion passes. Can I please have a motion to adjourn the September 28th Board of Education meeting?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Good night, everyone.